You're watching JoyNews Desk with me, Bernice Abubeidulan. So we'll take you now to the Labadi Beach Hotel. The Vice President is speaking at a World Bank Ease of Doing Business stakeholders meeting.
In the 2019 Doing Business report, Ghana ranked 114 in the Ease of Doing Business compared to 120 in 2018. This means an improvement and narrowing of the gap with the global best practice. But we only went up by 6 positions. The nature of this index is that it is a very competitive index. All countries are reforming. So if you go to sleep, others will go ahead of you. There is a very competitive business that is taking place. And so you always have to look around on your shoulder to see what your other competitors are doing, because everybody is trying to attract investment to improve the business environment. So I was told a joke about someone who used to be second to last in class all the time, and he used to tease the person who was last in class all the time. You were second to last. But one day he got a shock of his life when the parents of the one who was last were transferred from out of the town, which meant that he would have to carry the class. And he started crying. You know, he didn't want the man to be transferred, you know. So we are not quite second to last, but we are 114 in this ranking. We want to move up much further. And in moving up, we pray that the others don't do more reforms than we are doing, so that we can go quicker than them. The main reasons behind this performance, that we saw this 6th place improvement last year, the main reasons behind this were the improvements in the business environment last year were in 3 areas. We had improvements, first, in trading across borders. Ghana introduced a paperless customs clearance processing system, and that earned us marks positively. Secondly, dealing with construction permits. Ghana has strengthened construction quality control by imposing stricter qualification requirements for professionals in charge of technical inspections, the data correction from the various previous report. Then paying taxes. Ghana has allowed financial losses to be carried forward fully during any of the following 5 years of assessment. So those 3 areas in, trading across borders, construction permits, and paying taxes were the reasons why Ghana improved. But as we say, we are only getting started. And we have worked on more reforms for 2020 Doing Business cycle. And these reforms are very, very key. And we hope that if we all work together, these reforms should see Ghana improve significantly in the next Ease of Doing Business report. Firstly, for companies without a TIN number, a tax identification number. When you usually go to register, you will need your tax identification number. And if you don't have one, it creates problems. It sort of slows down the process, the time that it will take you to register the business. So for companies without the TIN number as it is now being arranged will be generated automatically for the company with a single data entry forms, right? So you will suddenly, you don't have to go and apply somewhere else and all of that. The TIN will be generated. Secondly, we are hoping to see the launch of a mobile application and an online platform for the ease of filing tax returns. I remember when I filed my tax returns in April last year, I was challenging the GRA to make sure that we can have a mobile application that will also help people from to file, you know. So it will be a good one if we are able to introduce that. So Kofinti, that's in your territory, and I know they've been working on it. Thirdly, we have the implementation of an electronic justice system that allows the automated serving of court processes with speed and ease. So the digitization of our justice system is another area that we are moving very strongly on. Then the very important reform that we are introducing is the removal of the requirement for a commissioner of oaths in registering a company. Now, you'll recall that, I mean, if you're going to register a company, you'll need to have a commissioners of oaths, and you'll have to find them, and it's not easy to find them that quickly in certain parts. So it becomes a problem, and this is being removed. Fifthly, we are merging all for starting a business application form. We are making the starting of business application forms simple. So there are 4 different forms that you will need to fill. But if you look at the best practice from other countries, we've decided that we will merge all the 4 into one form, a single data entry form. And so the TIN application, the SNIT application form, the business operating permit application, and the business registration forms. These are all going to be merged into one form. So when you come in to register a business, rather than filling 4 different forms, you'll have one form which will be electronically available to all the different key stakeholders. We are also automating the business operating permit so that it is very easy to acquire business operating permits once you are registered. 7th, the issuance to clients of a temporary permit valid for 3 or 6 months, right? So immediately you come in and you can have a temporary permit to begin operations so that your businesses, business ideas, sometimes if you don't move quickly on them, it becomes a different problem for you. So you'll get a temporary operating permit for 3 to 6 months whilst your final permit is worked on. Reduction and automation of the steps to getting electricity. This is one of the areas that we were falling short on. So we've worked with the ECG, PDS, MDs here to reduce the steps it takes for someone to apply for electricity, and that will be another one. Then the introduction, the automation also of the construction permit system, like the business operating permit system. It's going to be automated so that it's very, very simple to get a construction permit. Introduction, number 10, introduction of mandatory joint examination at the port, so that you don't have to have different agencies at the port or coming to inspect containers at different times. It's mandatory. All of them have to come together to inspect the container jointly, and that eases the cost of doing business at the ports. We are going to see the launch of a new port terminal, better infrastructure for efficiency. We should see that sometime by June this year. Reduction in the physical examination of containers through the use of the risk engine. One of the interesting things is that about 90% of containers coming through our ports are physically examined. Can you think about that? 90%. So customs, you insist on seeing everything, even though you have scanners and all of that. we have the general thing in most ports, it's about 2% of containers are examined. So we want to get out of this situation where you use the risk engine and you go by what the risk engine says. If the risk engine, which we have put together under the paperless system, says it is green, it is green. Let the container move. And rather, because when you say that you will physically examine a container, it means that you have to unstuff it. And guess who pays for the unstuffing? Is the importer. Then you have to restuff it. So we've done some work and with customs, and they've been very helpful in this. We said, all this physical examination, how much revenue does it really add?
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia speaking at the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Stakeholders meeting at the Labadi Beach Hotel.